Hello, and welcome to this week's Guided Access assignment. Today we'll be looking at creating tables, creating forms, and then putting in information. And so first thing I want to do is look at the actual database and see how things are arranged and what fields I have available to me. So I typically go under Database Tools, click on Relationships, and then from there try and arrange these so they make sense. So we have inventory that makes up part of our order, which also has some order data, and employees fulfill the order data and customers do the order. So this is an order entry system, looks like, and this is how all the tables are broken down and what fields go into those. Alright, so we've done step 1 already. Step 2 says use design view to create a new table. So we'll come over here and we'll come over here, click home, and we'll close this. We'll save that current layout. We'll go ahead and make sure we've got Create tab open. We're going to look at, is it a table we want, or is it Table Design? Table Design allows us to create it in Design View. So we've got that. And it says add product line ID as the first field name with data type auto number. So we'll type just as you see it, and certain letters are caps and whatnot. The data type, and it wants us to do auto number, which means it's going to automatically create a number, and then the next number will be the next sequential integer number or long integer that you see here. Add product line description as the second field name, so we'll do that. So this is how you actually build a table in Access. I call this the bucket to hold the data. You've got to do this before you enter any data into your database, and this needs to be correct and laid out correctly. The data type should be short text, which is the default, so that listed correctly, and then a field size 10. The field size is set below here. This area down here are all the metadata about the table. So it's data about the table, data about each of the field types that you can set here. Step 3 says ensure product line ID is the primary key. So in order to do that, we click here, we do a right click, and then we can select primary key. Save the table and name it product space lines, looks like. Add 3 records, China, flatware, and crystal. Okay, product line ID, product line description. So we're going to save it, and that's where it prompts us for the name. If we go to Data Sheet View, we can now enter information. So product line ID, remember that was auto number, so you don't ever want to type numbers in here. Product line description, we're going to do China, hit tab, flatware. You see how it's automatically doing a new number? That also acts as our primary key that uniquely identifies the record. Hit tab, and now I'm typing in crystal. Close the table. Before I can close it, I should save it. That's what it's prompted me for. All right, step 4. Open the inventory table in design view. So here are all my objects. I got tables and queries. I'm going to see if there's anything else. All access objects have been selected, so we're good. So the inventory table. Set the quantity, the on-hand quantity and product line ID fields to required. Okay, in order to do that, we need to be in design view. And so here's the on-hand quantity. And notice down here, we've got required. We can set that to yes. And the product line ID, it wants that also to be required. So you may have to look for it. And that looks all step 4. Step 5 is establish a validation rule for quantity on hand field that requires the value to be greater than or equal to 0. Create validation text for the quantity on hand. The value of this field must be 0 or greater. Include the period. So we're going to go back up to here, and the validation rule, we're going to actually build that. That's what the 3 little dots here means, an expression. So we're actually just have to, this is a very simple expression, greater than or equal to 0. We're going to the validation text. Says the value, and this needs to be typed exactly as you see it. Must be 0 or greater. We're ready to save this table. Hit yes. Now the data integrity, since we had that data relationship set up, means that we might have had some data in there that wasn't greater than or equal to 0. And that would have violated our integrity rules. And if we got more errors, we would have had to open up this table, find out where that data wasn't greater than or equal to 0, and either delete it or make changes. And now it wants us to switch to datasheet view, go to the first record, to a -3, and that's where that validation text will appear if you do something that violates the rule. Close the expression box and press escape to store the original value. We're ready to save that and close it. So that takes us through step 5. Step 6, open the employee table in design view. I just did a right click on this tab and went to design view. add a phone number input mask for the phone field. So we're going to go there, click on the field up here. Notice the mask, it's right here, storing with symbols. Save and close the table. So we're going to do the phone number. How do you want to store the data? And it actually said with the symbols in the mask. So if you didn't do that, it would be stored like just a solid number. So this is going to take up more space. In the past, when space was very expensive, they didn't store it with the symbols. So we'll click Next. Finish. You can see here's how they generated that input mask for us. We're going to do a save. Actually look at the table. And you can see how that's out there now. But if we were inputting values, and we'll see that later, that mask would show up on the screen so that people would know what information about phone you wanted to get. That takes care of step 6. Step 7 is to open the inventory table in Design View. Right click. Change the data type of product line ID field to Lookup Wizard. Okay. So I just hit the drop down box. Click Lookup Wizard. Use the product lines table for the value in the lookup field. Select both fields in the table. In the table we want is product lines, which is what we created earlier. And it says which pieces of information do you want to look up? And the sort order, the default is ascending here. We may have to come back and change this after the grading. It says it's not giving us a prompt. So I'm going to just choose product line description because that makes the most sense right now. So we're going to hide the key column. That is, the user won't be able to see that when it's prompted to come up on the screen. So it looks like we may want this one. I'll tell you later if that's correct or not. Default name is product line ID, which we've got. And it doesn't say anything else, so we'll hit finish. We'll save it. Do yes again. Now we'll go to Datasheet View. And now notice under Product Line ID, change the product line to Crystal in the first record. So if I click there, notice that we only have an option now of selecting these values, which is a good thing. So now when a user is entering information, they can only enter this type of information, and it's spelled exactly the way we want it to go into the database. So that gives you some data integrity. And that means they can't be typing in something else or misspelling it. And so when we do our queries, it'll always get the right information that we're looking for. So I wanted us to change it to Crystal. Click the second record, so that enters it. If the record updates successfully, change the record back to China and close the table. So we'll close that. We'll change that back to China. And now we'll hit close. Prompts us to save. And that ends the first 7 steps in this guided access for Chapter 5. We'll come back and finish it.